What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode review for Takt Destiny. This is episode 3, and with me, as always, I have Blue Spade.
So, well, now it looks like we're going to be picking up where the last episode leaves off. We're not going to pick up where, I don't know when we're going to pick up after the first episode. It usually the series started like sort of ahead of time before getting us back to the origin story to this. But yeah, so we were wondering how the D2s ended up attacking the Symphonia Festival in the first place. And if you guys looked closely, there was like a quick scene in which you noticed there was someone up on the rooftop with these weird looking tuning forks on the roof. So it looks like someone deliberately lured the D2s over to that Symphonia to attack it in the first place.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that scene. I guess because, like you said, it was such a quick scene, I must have it just never really occurred to me that it was important.
Yeah. However, the animation quality is still top notch. I'm not really sure whether or not well, you asked earlier before we started that whether or not this episode was outsourced or something. To me, like I don't know if they really did. I haven't even heard any news on whether or not they really have outsourced it compared to the last episode. But to me, I think I think the animation quality is still just as good as it was in the previous
this
episodes.
time when I watched the episode, I was actually paying attention to certain scenes just to see if there was some kind of like art style change or animation difference, and I really couldn't tell. Like the beginning of the episode is just really well animated, so, and it is pretty much consistent, I would say, with what we've seen so far. Spade did mention at the end of the episode seemed like it wasn't maybe as well animated as the beginning of the episode, but so it's possible that I guess maybe they did outsource maybe part of the episode, or maybe if not the whole thing, which is it's possible. But I like I said, I couldn't tell. I'm pretty sure there'll be some people on the internet that might have noticed something and that I just overlooked, and they would be able to be like, oh yeah, this is definitely outsourced. This is definitely an outsourced episode or something. But yeah, like I said, I really couldn't tell. I thought the whole episode looked fine. Like I said, pretty consistent visually with what we've already seen, animation art style wise. So really no problems there, I would say.
Yeah, so we pick up immediately after the events of the last episode, where Takt and Cosette end up fighting off the D2s, but unfortunately, Cosette ends up collapsing, and same goes with Takt. And this is the same issue we saw back in the first episode. After they end up fighting the D2s, they end up collapsing from exhaustion. But this time in this episode, they end up collapsing while they're surrounded by a bunch of D2s. However, just before they end up getting attacked, we see two new characters show up, arriving to save them. One is a conductor named Lenny, and another is a music art named Titan, who help end up defeating him in the end.
Yeah, we also briefly see another music art, like I guess observing everything from the rooftop. And I'm guessing it's probably going to be an important character later. But it kind of looked like one of the characters, because I did actually look into the mobile game, and it looks like one of the music arts from there. There are quite a few of them, so I'm guessing we'll be probably introduced to other music arts, most likely in the next episode. I mean, because we've already seen this new one, and there's, as far as I know, there's quite a few more.
Yeah. So, so we pick up the following day after, where Tak ends up waking up from his injuries, and then we find out that Cosette is not really the same person. It's right now she's a music art that's calling herself Destiny. So we've been wondering about like the personality change, and we find out that Destiny is a completely separate entity than Cosette.
Yeah,
was.
I mean, before this scene too, Takt also has this dream where he sees Cosette disappearing. So I guess it's supposed to imply like she's technically not there anymore.
Yeah, and they sort of Lenny and Titan, who's visiting their house. So they explain that Destiny I guess appeared like under unusual circumstances I guess, and they say her condition is unstable or something like that. And well, it's hard to tell because they said like they do mention that that Cosette is no longer like no they- is technically dead of sorts, or maybe she's just unconscious inside of her body, and Destiny is
I
basically just taking over for
Yeah,
her.
pretty much this is just a completely different person. It's not
Mhm.
technically not really Cassette anymore. Because like I think how Lenny explains, like she doesn't even have any of the memories of Cassette, and so yeah, it's pretty much like she's a different person. So, uh, that's I mean, it definitely explains her different personality, and her just acting like a total robot for the first episode.
Mhm. Yeah. However, yeah. So Lenny does explain that Destiny is in an unstable condition, and they need to rectify this by taking them to like some by going through some kind of treatment for her. So their plan is that they go to the Symphonica based in New York, which we find out that they were initially going back in the first episode. So now Anna proposes taking him there, and she mentions that she has an older sister there that can possibly help her stabilize Destiny's condition.
Yeah, but I think we learned that apparently there's no easy way to get there. Supposedly there's a bunch of, I guess, zones where it's just, I guess, cordoned off or something. So the only way they can get there is this, I guess, roundabout way. So that's pretty much the way, I guess, the only way they can go, which is interesting. I don't know if it's due to the
Yeah,
D2s.
they say.
I guess it's due to the just D2s being everywhere. But apparently, according to Lenny, the D2s
Yeah.
haven't been cited in the route that I guess that he suggested they go. So yeah,
Yeah, so it looks. Yeah, they you obviously see they pull up a map of the entire U.S. and they, it's you can see like it's cordoned up. Like most of the central states have been cordoned off because of the D2s taking over those areas. So, Takt recommends that they go around, and the first likely destination they're going to is, of course, Las Vegas. However, before they can like plan any further, the D2s appear next to their house again, and then Destiny takes it upon herself to go attack the thing.
yeah. Like Destiny senses them first, and then Takt basically is now, I guess, able to see where they are, even from far away. So I guess this has to do with the Takt and Destiny having these, like, or I guess Destiny like sharing her powers with Takt or something.
Yeah, but there's a price.
Yeah,
to it,
yeah.
though.
We learned that basically like
Lane-
Destiny, every time she gets into a fight, it sucks out like Takt's life force basically.
Yeah, which sort of explains how why Takt ends up collapsing
And
as
the
well.
red, the rash. or
There's
whatever.
one thing that I'm still questioning, like about how durable Takt is, because if you remember back in the first episode, Takt ends up collapsing from a rooftop and then crashes down on the
Yeah.
ground. So I don't know how durable this guy is. I mean, he managed to somehow survive something like that, but it's still not fully explained how Takt Takt's life force is involved, like with Destiny, I guess, consuming it in some way.
I mean, my assumption from the first episode was that it was because of like she got power from the music that he was playing, and but I guess I guess it's from his life force. But maybe it could be both. I don't know. Maybe if he has some music to play, it maybe either supplies her more power, or he doesn't have to use up as much of his life force. So I don't know. Maybe they'll explain how that works.
Yeah. I mean, like we can tell, by his skin tone is starting
Yeah.
to change, like into a more reddish, or like in a bloody style or something like that. But eventually, Titan ends up helping Destiny fight off the remaining D2s. So they end up yeah. So, but in the process, they end up destroying the house in the end.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
I'm still,
I mean,
I'm still kind of unsure of the relationship between all of them too. By the way, because when the house is destroyed, it says you destroyed Takt's house and not like anything like our house or something. So I mean, you would think that if they're like family or they're living together, they would say like, oh, it's our house, not that it's Takt's house. So I'm still not exactly sure. I feel it's still a little bit ambiguous. Like,
I think I can make it off by looking at the opening credits. If you remember, like Cosette running out of her home and waving her sister goodbye, and then ends up visiting Takt's house. So I guess they're living in technically Cosette and her sister Anna live in a separate place.
Yeah. There's still some unanswered questions with it regarding that. So yeah, but I mean, you might be right. Yeah. So yeah, his house gets destroyed, and Takt is just basically like, there's nothing left for me here anyway. So I mean, but yeah, like, I don't know. I feel like I'd be a little bit upset if basically just my house got blown up, and I mean, I'd be worried about my insurance and everything like that. But I don't know. I guess it's an anime, so we're not supposed to really think about that kind of thing. Yeah. But
yeah. So yeah, by the end of the episode, Anna, Takt, and Destiny drive off for New York. Well, first they're going off to Las Vegas first because they have to go all the way around the states. And and of course they're accompanied part of the way by both Lenny and Titan. So that's pretty much the end of the episode.
Yeah. I wonder if there's going to be another kind of like flashback episode after this, or if we're going to just go back to where we were.
I think we're just going to keep following off from this point of the story, because I don't think we're going to reach the end of where we were from episode 1, probably by, I don't know, by the end of the season or something.
Yeah, I guess it depends on how long it's going to be.
I mean, they said it's like likely to be like, well, I don't know. Actually, no, they never really stated how many episodes there were. I mean, we can obviously go assume this is going to be one core, but unless they announce some sort of second core later on in the season. But right now we can just only assume there's going to be one.
But yeah, I thought this is a pretty good episode. Like especially the scene at the beginning was, it was great. Like the animation was just incredible. And I mean, the episode itself, it felt more like it was just kind of expository. Like there's just a lot of expository dialogue about how, basically about like why the D2s attacked, or why they might have attacked, just the music arts, and I thought that it was interesting, and I'm kind of hoping they go a little bit more into it, because there are still some things we just don't really know. I'm mostly curious about, like, especially like Cassette, like, is it possible she's still alive, or is she just unconscious, like, or is she actually dead? And this person is just basically just taking over her body. And also just some things about how just how their powers work too, and like the thing about like is the music helping to like supplement their powers in any way, or is it just like, because it did get explained like that his life force was being used, I guess, in exchange for her power, but we also know that music is the main thing that that supposedly like gives the music arts power. So yeah, I mean music is their weapon of sorts, and I think if what was it? I think Destiny's base was a music art born from Symphony Number 5 from Beethoven, and I think Titan mentioned she's based off of another symphony, but I can't remember what it was. Yeah, and I mean in this episode, like Takt wasn't really using any, he wasn't really playing the piano or anything when there were, during the fight scenes, as opposed to like the first episode where he did have a piano, and that seemed to kind of help. I guess that must have helped Destiny out. But here maybe they were struggling because Takt didn't have a piano to use to maybe like help her. So that could have had something to do with it. Well,
neither did Lenny when like we never saw like what kind of instrument
That's
he
true.
was using. So he
But
just
but I also
basically
remember like in the beginning of the
he
episode,
basically-
like Takt, he kind of he they both kind of ended up fainting, and then he was having his life force drained, and he also almost fainted like basically twice in this episode. And I wonder if that has to do with him not having like a piano or anything to play. Maybe when he doesn't have the piano and he has no musical instrument to use, maybe he'll just like faint quicker, or just he won't be able to support Destiny for as long or something if he's not using a piano or any kind of musical instrument.
or any musical instrument in general. But I just don't see like how they can like lug a fucking piano like so easily.
Yeah.
I mean, well, if we remember, like Destiny was able to carry a damn piano all over the place, like in the first episode. But I don't know like how they could just get around like looking for an instrument that
They would probably need to change to get a different kind of vehicle if they wanted to try to carry a piano around, because right now they're just driving around in the car. But yeah, so I don't really have much else to say about the episode. I mean, I don't know if you have anything else to say about it.
It was still a good episode. It's just I mean, hopefully they keep this consistency going with their animation quality. We don't know whether or not like if Mappa's still like or Mappa or Madhouse are still like outsourcing their materials or something like that.
Yeah, it's really hard to tell. Like I said, I didn't pick up on it. So I mean, even if they do, like even if they did, like it still looked fine. So I mean, I really have no complaints. There's really no huge dip in animation quality.
Yeah, I mean, there was, I don't know, like in my opinion, I think there was like a kind of a small dip in that quality, like during the fight scene in the forest. But I don't
guess
think it was.
If it's just like even if it does happen, like as long as it's not anything that happens like frequently, then it's not a big deal. Yeah, but so that all being said, guys, until next was it Tuesday?
Yeah, Tuesday.
We will see y'all next time.